Hello, Treble. This is Ari with episode 20 of Talking Technique. Looking for ways to spice up a groove a little bit? Well, double stops may be an interesting version to do just that. This episode is going to be another double tasker. We're going to be looking at double stops from a technique standpoint, of course, then also from a music theory standpoint and from a groove creation standpoint. Most importantly, I hope that this episode is going to give you a lot of ideas to create your own cool double stops and ways to spice up a groove. I like to do things in a systematic way, so take a look at the handout that I've prepared for you, maybe print it out or have it open on your desktop. And basically, let's take a look at what double stops are. In their most basic form, double stops are played, two notes played at the same time. Now, when I do that on the bass sonically, the instrument is a little bit rigged against me because if I do that in certain ranges of the bass, it's going to sound real muddy. But there's some tricks that I can use to brighten up the sound. One is, for example, to spread out the voicing, which is something that we talked about in an earlier episode. Another is to use the higher upper two strings, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. Another trick I can use is that I invert the interval. For example, you may know this song. There's a double stop that is an inversion. So it's Ben Harper, Steal My Kisses, and this really cool bass fill is, of course, a major third inverted. So we have this sound, which is much less dense than this, and then sliding into it adds another cool sound to it. So those are two options: spreading out the voicings or inverting the interval. That will make, will take the mud out of the equation. For the examples that I have for you, we're going to be doing our double stops exclusively on the D and the G strings, and we will not be inverting them. Now we will be grooving in C7 and the notes of a C7 chord without any extensions or alterations are C, E, G, and B flat. Okay, now I'm going to play those notes on just the D and E strings. So on just the D string, it's E, G, B flat, C, E, G, B flat, C. And on the G string, so G, B flat, C, E, G, B flat, C, E, and G. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing, but with both strings at the same time. So it'll turn out to be thirds and 1 second. So here's a minor third, major second, major third, minor third, major second, and major third. So again. Okay, so that's already some cool material that I can improvise with. Now I'm going to add two more notes. And the two notes I'm going to add are the major second or ninth, which is the D, and the 13, which is the A, because those notes sound also really cool in that context. Now, I want to say that basically you can use really all of the notes of an F major scale or C Mixolydian scale, which is the same tonal material. It's basically a C major scale with a flat 7. So you could, in theory, do this. Okay? So you can think of it that way too if you like. But what I wrote out in the sheet are some of the really cool sounding ones, which are the ones that incorporate the D and the A into this chord. So you could do a bunch of things like these kind of things too. So that, there's so many options. Don't have to be exhaustive here, but you will see a few of those options written out. And so what we can now do is we can groove and incorporate all of these kind of double stops. So I'm going to do that real quick. But I want to take it even a step further. So instead of just playing the double stop, I want to create a little figure out of that tonal material. And one thing you can do, for example, that sounds cool, is that instead of just going to the double stop, like this, you can use those two notes and create a little figure out of them, incorporating, let's say, you can make up any kind of rule. So the rule I'm going to make up is I'm going to slide into the lower note on the D string, and then I'm going to play the top note and a half step below that, and then go back to the note a half step above. So for example, I'm going to slide into my, let's say here, here, and here. I'm going to slide into the lower note, go up to the higher note, back to the root, half step below, higher note, back to the root, and then maybe back to the note where I started with. So, and then. A few words about technical considerations when doing these double stops. When you are grooving and playing a regular bass line, you will typically be plucking towards your body, towards the bass body. It gives you much more of an edgier sound, and I definitely like to dig in. However, when you are playing those double stops, it's not possible to do that because you will kill one of the notes if you do that. So you have to play it like a classical guitar player would arpeggiate, for example, a chord. So you will pluck into the other direction. So when you are doing these sort of figures, your right hand will be going between those two directions quite a bit. Let's talk about the left hand technique for a second. When you'll be doing those slides, then it may be easier on some figures to use your pinky, especially when you're down there or when you're doing whole steps. However, in other instances, it may be easier, more comfortable to use your ring finger. You can even do the whole step with your ring finger, but that's quite a stretch. So you might want to think about it, which one you're more comfortable with, and try both. Today's tip: make sure that you use fills like those that I showed you today with taste. Anything that involves slides and going up on the high strings sticks out energetically anyway a little bit, so you want to make sure that your dynamics don't go overboard as well. In Steal My Kisses, for example, happens exactly where the singer takes a breath. So make sure you place them with taste and so that they fit the song. I'm at arisbassblog.com. Thank you very much for watching.